Welcome to another video from Java Beginners series. In today's video we are going to discuss methods in Java. In our previous examples we had this class named person where we had attributes name, last name, age and also behaviors. Behaviors such as speak is represented as a method. In Java in general, when we want to represent the behavior of the class, we are using the methods. In this case, the method name is speak. So this method is printing hello there on the console. There are different types of methods in Java. For example, method can be void, which means that method does not return anything, or it can return the type, for example, string. As you can see, the first method speak is void. It does not return anything, it will just execute this system out print line and it will print hello there. In the next method, in the next example, we see public string print. In this case, the string gets returned as a result when calling this method, and it will return the string printing text. In the next example, we see that still return type is a string. Then we have this method name, and also inside the parentheses we have the argument. The argument name is name, so we are passing the parameter to this method and it gets inserted in place of name and it will print hello plus whatever the name we are passing as a parameter. Let's see all of these demonstrated in our Java example. Now you can see just a regular Java project created, and in this package com.example, let's create new class and let's call it methods. Inside this class I will create main method. Main method is the entry point in our Java applications, meaning that main method will be called first whenever we try to run our application. For example, if I have another method, public void, say hi, which prints hi, and if I run this application, there will be output which is empty. There is no hi printed on the console because it was not called from the main method. So whatever gets inside the main method will be executed when we run our application. So if I want to call this method, say hi, I need to create an object first. So I need to create methods m equals new method. So I just instantiated an object, and on this reference variable with dot operator I can call this name, so it will be executed. Now if I run my application again, we can see that hi is printed on the console. This type of method, as we already mentioned, is void, so it does not return anything, it will just execute this. Now let's create the method with the return type. So return type will be string. The public is an access modifier, and we will discuss this in more detail later. And let's call it say hello. Now we can return string. In this example I will use string literal and I will just write hello, and when I call this method say hello and execute the program, we will see the output, but we will not see the output. The reason for this is that since this method returns string, it must be saved into a variable. So first I will call this string variable, let's call it result, which equals to this method call. So this method call will return this hello and store it into result. And now we can access this result and it will be finally printed on the console. Right here we can see that hello is printed. Okay, now we can move and create static method. So static method gets created using static keyword. So we say public static and then method name. Let's call this method greet. And we also need to include the return type for this method. It must be either void or it should return any type, for example string. Let it be a void, so I will write void here and I will print hello friend. Now in order to call this method, remember that this method is static and static methods cannot be called from the object instance. When the method is static, it means that it does not belong to concrete object instance, but it belongs to the class itself. In this case, m is an instance, so it is particular object instance. But since we are trying to call the static method, which is named greet, we can see that there is no greet available, because we are trying to call the static method from the non-static object instance. So correct way will be to include name of the class, which is methods, then dot, and then we can see greet. And now this method will be executed and it will print this hello world on the console. So this is how we are using instance and static methods. All the methods here, such as void say hi, string say hello, are instance methods, meaning that they are for concrete object instances and they are called with these object reference variables. But static method means that this method is for the class itself, not for the concrete object instance, and in order to call the static method, we need to call it from class name dot and then the method name. Hopefully this was clear to understand, and to summarize one more time, methods can be static or instance. Static means that method is for the class itself, instance means that it is for the object instance. And also methods can be divided into void and into methods with the return type. Either it returns some object, some type, in this case string, or it does not return anything, which means that method is void. So this was all for today about methods in Java. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one.